I want to bring in Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel. She oversaw an investigation into the Michigan State University's handling of the allegations against Nassar before closing it in March because the university refused to hand over requested documents. Attorney General Nessel, good morning, and thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Let me get your reaction first to our new reporting on the firing of the former FBI agent who first interviewed Michaela Maroney.
Well, I mean, clearly it's awful, but it's hardly surprising given what we saw throughout the process of the investigation and later the prosecution of Larry Nassar and several people who were affiliated with him at Michigan State University. But, I think the important thing to remember is during this lengthy delay that occurred because the FBI failed to investigate, failed to notify local authorities that this FBI agent clearly used this as an opportunity to advance his own career rather than actually investigate and pursue charges against Larry Nassar. During that entire time, remember, he's working at Michigan State University, and he is, of course, continuing to molest and to sexually abuse young women and girls. And all during that time period, of course, he could have been stopped had only the FBI done their job. So this is a failure at all levels for law enforcement. But unfortunately, I think it's indicative of what was the larger culture. And recall, just a few years before that, in Detroit, they discovered 10,000 untested rape kits that had just been sitting on a shelf because law enforcement didn't think it was worthwhile to pursue any of those 10,000 cases. So, this is a problem we've seen over and over again. And if anything, I think the Larry Nassar case has really brought to the forefront the fact that for many years, women and girls were simply not believed when they made reports of sexual abuse. And hopefully that's changed as a result of all this.
Let me ask you what you'll be listening for today. Short of the documents that you wanted from the Michigan State University for that investigation, what would you need to see or hear potentially today that could cause you to reopen this case, right? Is there anything that you could hear today that might make a difference there?
Well, I'm not going to say that it's not possible. Obviously, we are waiting on what is over 6,000 documents that Michigan State University has refused to provide to us, even though, of course, recall that MSU is the one that asked for the investigation by the Department of Attorney General to begin with. So, of course, I mean, the fact that they would request such an investigation and then refuse to cooperate in the investigation that they started, of course, is, I think disappointing on every level. But of course, we're going to be paying close attention. We'll see what's said, and we'll see if there's anything possible that leads us to see that there are other individuals that might have been involved, which we, quite frankly, have suspected for quite some time. So I'm not ruling anything out.
Okay. Before I let you go, I want to know what the FBI director, what he needs to say to you and to Americans today to make clear that this kind of thing will not happen again. What do you hope to hear from him?
Well, I want to see very specifically what they're planning to do, what kind of proactive and protective measures they're putting in place to ensure that nothing like this can ever possibly happen again. Okay. And I think it has to be a situation where you have a number of people who are advised about the same set of circumstances. So you don't have one person in charge that through their failure to pursue allegations can really halt an entire investigation, even one like of this nature that involved hundreds and hundreds of sexual assault victims.
Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel, thank you very much for being with us this morning.